Okay, so about a week and a half ago, I decided it was high time my 3.5-year-old got potty trained. To give you a little bit of background on him, he is probably the most stubborn child I have ever raised. He is number 8, and he just he just was really resistant to anything potty training. He would sit up there for a bit. I mean, we tried the little potty chairs. We tried the little rings that go in the toilet. We tried bribing. He just was having none of it. And he wouldn't even really try. He would sit up there for like 5 seconds and then be like, I'm done, or I'm not doing this, or whatever. I mean, he was very vocal about the fact that he was not going to potty train and that he much preferred diapers. And honestly, sometimes I prefer diapers. They're changed on my time frame. I don't have to haul him in when we're traveling. Like, he can stay in the van with, me, or me and the baby and Creed, can stay in the van. And we don't have to take him into the convenience store wherever we stop. Because honestly, he's just kind of a bundle of energy, and so it was easier to just keep him in the van. So there were a lot of reasons for me to kind of delay things. Now, I'm not saying that 3.5 is truly delaying. I know according to my parents' generation, I grew up hearing stories of how, everybody's child was potty trained at 18 months. And yeah, I haven't really been able to achieve that. So honestly, I wanted a child to be potty trained at the point where they could kind of handle it themselves. So anyway, he was getting to the point where I was feeling ready that he needed to potty train. He was telling me when he needed his diaper changed. I mean, it was very obvious that he was ready. He just wasn't wanting to. And I'm having another baby, and I already have a 1-year-old who's in diapers, and I thought, I really don't want 3 in diapers. I really want to get this taken care of before the new baby comes. So I had saved an article from years ago, a blog post from years ago on Large Families on Purpose, where she had used a method called something like potty training in less than a day. I think there's a book, and I'll link to that book in the description. But it was like potty training in less than a day, and it was this whole method, and she went through how she did it. And so I reread that post because, like I said, I've had it saved for several years now. And I went through and I looked at it, and basically what I did was I took it and put it in Evernote, and I made notes of my own because there were some things that either she had extra information I just didn't need, or there were some things I was thinking, I think I'd do that differently. So I fixed up all my notes, and I decided that about a week and a half we were going to just do this thing. And so I announced it to Creed the night before, and the next morning about 9 o'clock we finally managed to get started. And the book tells you to keep them in the bathroom, and the whole time they stay in the bathroom. And I have to be honest, my bathroom's not that comfortable, and I'm pregnant, and I don't want to hang out in the bathroom. So what we did was we stayed in the master bedroom that has an attached bathroom. So that's what we did. There's a chair near the bathroom for me. I did have my computer so that I could keep track of the notes. I could have put it on my phone too, but anyway, that way I could see where I was at in the whole process, and what maybe some tips and tricks and things that I could try differently. So we stayed in the master bedroom, and we had a load of underwear. I mean, just as many as I could gather from the entire household. And then I had snacks. So I think I had some cookies, and I had some chips, and I had some bananas. And then we also had lemonade. His sister had made some homemade lemonade for him, and I basically said, this is Creed's lemonade, nobody touch it. And we got him a big glass, and we locked ourselves in the bedroom, and my oldest son, who's 18, he took care of the other kids, just making sure that they got fed and did their schoolwork and stuff like that while we were in here, because that was honestly one of my biggest issues with potty training, is that I don't have the time. I can never get a distraction-free household I'm always busy with something. And so to potty train was like, I have one more thing to do. Not a chance am I going to be able to get everyone out of the house and go play at the park or something like that for 4 to 6 hours, because that's what's required. Now, the woman who wrote the blog post, that's what she does. Her husband takes the kids out. Well, I didn't have that option. So what I decided to do was to have my 18-year-old watch the kids for that amount of time. And I basically told all the kids, I said, this is what we're doing. Please don't knock on the door and ask me for things. You can ask your brother, and I will be out in, this afternoon, basically. And they all understood that, and they really did a good job of, keeping things pretty low key and not bothering Creed, because that's what I was most afraid of, is that there was going to be a lot of in and out and talking to Creed, and Creed was going to be so distracted that he wouldn't be able to get the concept. So what you do for this potty training in less than a day is that you teach them the concepts of pulling down their pants and their underwear, and going to the bathroom and flushing and washing and all of that stuff. You teach that all to them. This is kind of a teaching time for them to get those concepts down so that they can do it on their own, is basically the idea. And so we did that. And honestly, I thought that, within half an hour or so, he would have to go to the bathroom. It was an hour and a half before he actually had to go. And so I don't know, it was kind of what I expected, but that, the first time would be kind of, haphazard, and he would wet through his underwear, and that was fine. No big deal. He did not want to actually go in the toilet. I did manage to get him up there. He practiced it. That was great. We are not using a little potty. We're not using the little ring. He's like 50 pounds or 47 pounds. He's a big kid, perfectly capable of, getting up and down off the toilet and being just fine. So I didn't want to add anything to this if I didn't have to. So after a while, I saw where he was starting to understand, and that was really encouraging. And so what you're looking for before you can actually leave the room and kind of venture out to give him a little bit more freedom is you're looking for them to initiate having to go to the bathroom. And you want to do that like 3 to 4 times. Well, he had 3 times of saying, hey, I have to go to the bathroom, and us getting in there and going and, hooping and hollering and all of that. By the way, I forgot to mention this. When they are dry is when you give them the snacks. So you have a timer on them. And like you're either doing 5 to 15 minutes at a time. You start really small and you reward for being dry. So like he would get 1 chip for being dry and 1 little cookie for being dry. And so that was how you reward them, not for going, but for being dry. So that's what we did. And then as you see them initiating, you stop giving them anything for being dry. You just kind of take those snacks away. He really didn't have a problem with that. He asked a couple of times, hey, do I get a snack? And I was like, oh, not this time, buddy. And he was fine with that. That wasn't any major deal. So this now has been about 4 hours, and he's initiated 3 or 4 times. I can't remember for sure. And so we come out of the bedroom, and of course everybody is glad to see us, and they're glad to see him, and they all want to talk about it. And he's pretty excited too. So that was really neat. He did tell me a few times, like, I want diapers. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. His infamous words were, it's not working. And so as you can see, he is something else. He's pretty much a ham. And anyway, so we went out, and honestly, the rest of the day, he did okay. We had several accidents. I'm not going to lie. We had several accidents. And I just calmly cleaned him up, took care of things. It wasn't any major accidents, though. It wasn't like puddles on the floor. It was just wet underwear, and we just changed them out. I will say, though, as time progressed, through the next week, we continued to have just tiny little accidents here and there. He did not want to go poop in the toilet. That came like a week later. And we're still kind of working on that now, about 10 days out. But what I did start doing that was different from the book and the blog post is that I did go ahead and the first time that he really initiated anything outside of the bedroom, I did go ahead and give him a treat, because he was kind of like, I don't want to do this. And as soon as I said, hey, I'll get you a treat, he was like, all right, I'll do this. So I didn't want to be like militant about the program and like, well, we can't do it that way because the book says we can't do it that way. Because you really have to tweak things to fit you. And for the first time, we were seeing positive results from potty training. So I wanted to just go with that. So I did do that. I only did that like twice, and then he was fine. He has been initiating it now the whole time. We just have very tiny minor accidents. No big deal. I am perfectly fine with that. That's something to be expected. And honestly, I'm pretty thrilled. I consider him potty trained now. I think there's going to be a test when we actually go outside of the house. He hasn't been out of the house this whole time. So we'll see how that goes. I'm definitely taking along pants and underwear for him. But I'm excited. For the first time, we actually made some headway with it. I think he's totally got it. So the reason this is titled Potty Training in a Day, sort of, is because obviously you can see it's not done in a day. Maybe if he was 4 or something like that, I don't know, maybe. But it's not really a day. And so I kind of wanted to reiterate that to people, that this is a good method, but don't expect it to be done in a day, because it's not. You have to stay on top of things, and you really just have to keep going with it and be calm and patient with them. But it has a lot of great concepts behind it, especially if you have a reluctant potty trainer, or if you're finding that you just don't have the time. If you could find some way, like I did with my older son watching the other kids, to get that distraction-free environment, it's 4 to 6 hours to teach those concepts. If you can get that somehow, I think that was the key to our success. And so that's my little update here on potty training in a day, and I will see you later.